The Guerrilla Girls are activists who fight for the rights and recognition of women. Up to 55 members have been a part of this exclusive membership through invitation club. Some have been apart for only a few weeks, while others have been involved for decades. They were first recognized by posting provocative posters in streets that called society out for the underrepresentation of women in art. On their posters, they named names and included statistics. From their initial movement, they have developed into publishing their art through various mediums, including billboard advertisements, installation pieces, prints, to even lectures and performances. In their own words, they aim to, quote, undermine the idea of a mainstream narrative by revealing the understory, the subtext, the overlooked, and the downright unfair. We believe in an intersectional feminism that fights discrimination and supports human rights for all people and all genders, end quote. Let's look at the formation and history of the Guerrilla Girls. The group was formed in 1985, and it is widely believed that two different events elicited their formation. One is the publication of Linda Nochlin, an influential feminist and art historian, who titled her work, Why Have There Been No Great Women Artists? In her publication, she claims that women have not been able to achieve the greatness that is on par with the Michelangelos and the Picassos, referring to the male artists in her society. She says that women fail to receive recognition for their artwork. Nochlin blamed the art society, who defended themselves by claiming that women are biologically and intellectually inferior beings. She sheds light on the institutional biases that develop and rejected women the opportunity to live on the same playing field as male artists. Nochlin asserts boldly that the fault is on society and not women by saying, quote, the fault lies not in our stars, our hormones, our menstrual cycles, but in our institution and our education. The next event, which prompted the formation of the Guerrilla Girls, occurred in 1971, when only 13 out of 169 artists were invited to display at the Museum of Modern Art's International Survey of Recent Paintings and Sculpture. The Guerrilla Girls protested against the underrepresentation at the event outside the Museum of Modern Art, but no one seemed to care. To highlight the idea that the art world had no space for women, the exhibition curator, Kynaston McShine, reported, quote, any artist who wasn't in the show should rethink his career. These two isolated events compounded together to become the inspiration which fueled the Guerrilla Girls to passionately fight for the representation and recognition of women. The early art created by the Guerrilla Girls was exclusively on posters and contained no imagery. Their focus of each poster was to direct attention to the underrepresentation of women in the art society. Through the use of bullet points, they communicated the blatant gender discrimination which took place and attacked particular art galleries, museums, and exhibitions, as well as renowned members of the art community. Their early artwork was mostly presented through text and graphic design to make poignant social commentaries. People who inspired their art were those such as Jenny Hosler and Barbara Kruger. In talking about their public posture, it is important to focus on the defining characteristic of the Guerrilla Girls, the gorilla mask which every member of the group wears. The mask acts as a mechanism to secure anonymity that they believe is crucial for their artwork to be heard and to be effective. Quote, we'd love to take those masks off, but would anyone listen to us without them? We have discovered that the art world takes feminists more seriously when they use humor and wear a gorilla disguise, end quote. This quote also reveals another reason to wear a mask, which is to induce humor and gain attention to leverage their message of inequality. Another aspect under their public posture is in the way they spell gorilla. While the pronunciation induces an image of a tough and strong animal, the spelling actually creates irony. It postulates that this group is a small and independent force that's fighting against larger, well-regulated forces. And that is what the Guerrilla Girls are doing. They're fighting against the norms of a well-oiled society. Now I will focus on two of their pieces that may seem simple but have a lot of depth to them. Their first one is called Dearest Art Collector and was created in 1986, shortly after the formation of their group. As you can see, this is a simple baby pink poster with black cursive and a drawing of a flower. All of these components together scream femininity and also incorporates unrelenting and witty irony to the entire issue, because it is more likely that these well-known art collectors were not aware of their exhibits lacking female representation. Moreover, if they did, it is highly possible that they have the offhanded attitude of Mr. McShine, whom I mentioned earlier. Their art, as you notice, is in the form of a request. This is intentional, as it questions the expectations for females to be polite, even when they have been offended or when having to address a serious complaint. I've had the opportunity to see this next piece in person in the Grand Rapids Art Museum. It is titled, Do Women Have to Get Naked to Get into the Met Museum? For the first time, in 1989, the Guerrilla Girls included an image into their art. Quote, one Saturday morning, we conducted a weenie count at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, comparing the number of nude males to nude females in the artwork on display. End quote. As you can see, that was their inspiration for the Guerrilla Girls. It was intended to exist as a billboard ad for the New York Public Art Fund. However, the company rejected the poster. Perhaps it was because the question is meant to embarrass the public for limiting a woman to be valued only for her sexuality. But this rejection didn't hinder the Guerrilla Girls, who made contracts with bus companies who allowed them to post their art on buses. What I like about the Guerrilla Girls is that they're fearless and yet grounded. As someone who studies data science, I truly appreciate that the Guerrilla Girls infuse accurate statistics and information into their art, because that makes their pieces both captivating and instigates political and social change. As I conclude this video, I would like to mention that the Guerrilla Girls are not accepted everywhere, and their art is still controversial in society. Yet their work is present in public museums more than 30 years later, and they continue to stay relevant and challenge today's society. So I'll leave you with this question. In your opinion, how is it that the Guerrilla Girls stay relevant today?